Hey, good evening, everybody. Tokyo Jur 85 here, and I thought I would just continue doing my physical tier list for the Turbografx-16 engine. I got one comment that said it was very unique, and I thought it was unique too. So we got our letters here, and let's just jump right into our next set of games. Again, these are 10 hue cards from my personal collection. It's going to be a different set. I picked at random. So let's jump right into it. The first game we have, Ninja Spirit. I know I mentioned in my last video that the Turbografx doesn't have a lot of good 2D side-scrolling action games, but this is one of the rare exceptions. It's actually an arcade port. I never played the arcade version of the game, but this version of the game is phenomenal. It's got great graphics, great music. It plays extremely well. It's one of those rare instances where you get a quality 2D action game on the system automatically for me. And again, this is all opinion based. I should have mentioned that in my last video, but that goes right for me personally. That's an S tier game. And again, on a system I feel that doesn't have many games like it. Again, if that was like on the Genesis, it'd probably be like a B or an A. But for Turbografx, for me, that's definitely an S tier game without question. Turrigan. I have a lot of nostalgia for this game, because when I originally owned a Turbografx, this is one of the games my brother gave to me originally. And this is one of those cases where it's one of these Western developed games. Again, the system has such a strong Japanese library, but not only did they not port most of the games, they made Western developed games, and a lot of them weren't really that good. Turrigan, though, it wasn't bad. It was on a couple of computers. And this version is also a Genesis version of this game too. It's actually a multi-plat game, but it didn't get any of the sequels. Like, it's strictly the first Turrigan. It's got less content, I hear, than the other versions. But again, as far as 2D action games go, again, a system that doesn't have many 2D action games, it's beatable. I played it, beat it. It's decent. I mean, it's not Ninja Spirit, but I wouldn't call it bad. And for the system, I definitely a B tier game in the average category. Again, like I said, and it could be a little biased. Like I said, I have a lot of nostalgia for this game. It's like one of the first games I ever owned for the system, so that's where I'm going to place it. Moto Rotor. So in collecting for the system, we come across those games where we collect to collect them. And I did give it a shot. Like I said, I love the Turbografx. I give all the games a decent shot. This is a racing game, and it's not a good one. It's a top-down racing game, and it has this weird mechanic where the screen scrolls, and if your car's on the edge of the screen, it keeps getting pushed forward with the other cars. It's extremely awkward, and it's really, really just not fun to play. So this goes right. That's an easy C for me. It's a racing game. It's not a good one. I mean, the Turbo doesn't have a lot of racing games, but it's not going to get a pass for that instance. Oh, another racing game, Final Lap. Much better than Moto Rotor. This is your typical racing game, front facing. The cool thing about this game is you can work on your car. You could do multiple races. It kind of has like a career mode, which for this early, this game was made in 1992. It has a lot of features for a racing game that early in the series. And again, it's a quantum leap above Moto Rotor. But again, as far as a racing game goes, it's average. I wouldn't put it any further up than that. Like I said, it's a decent racing game. Kadash. Working Designs is a great third-party company, especially for the Turbo. And this is one of those games, again, that has a Genesis counterpart. Although this version of the game, I feel, is better. I played both of them. It's got better colors and 2 additional characters. I played through the game, and I loved it. It's a very, very good game. And again, another rare example of a 2D action game on the Turbografx that's really good. For me, again, that's definitely an S tier game. Again, one of those things again where it shows that there's not a lot of 2D action games. Kadash, I feel like, is one of the rare examples on the system, so that was an easy choice for me. It's an extremely good game. Also, I heard it's an arcade game too, but I never played the arcade version of it. Tiger Road. Again, another 2D action game. You play as a monk that kind of looks like Krillin. The game is extremely hard, but what I will say though is if you actually have a Turbo Duo or a Turbo CD, this game actually has a save feature. And actually, a lot of these games have a save feature. They're not advertised on the game, but what happens is if you load the game into either a Turbo Duo or a regular Turbo that's connected to a CD that has RAM, it will save your game. And that was the only way I was able to beat this, because literally the save feature in this game saves almost after every room. So it's a very difficult game to play. Again, it was another actual Capcom arcade game. It is pretty faithful, but it is a little clunky. Like, it's definitely not going to be an S tier. I'd definitely slip it into the B tier. It's a good arcade conversion, but it's not anything special. Samurai Ghost. This game I had a lot of fun with. I thought it was a very good looking game too. Great presentation. I don't see a lot of Turbo games that stand out a lot graphically when you compare them to Genesis games. I feel this one holds up. A lot of people don't like the marionette physics in the game. I thought the game played fine. I played through it. I beat it. I thought the bosses were good. I thought the graphics were great. The environments are really good. Now I know this game actually is the Japanese version of this game is actually 2 games. This is the sequel, almost kind of like Shockman. And the prequel to this game is only on the PC Engine. I will eventually get that. And I don't know, for me, Samurai Ghost, I mean, I wouldn't put it in the S tier. It's definitely an A tier. The game, in my opinion, gets a bad rap. I had a lot of fun with it. It took me a couple of times to beat the last boss. It does have a code to where you can control the difficulty and skip levels. But the game gets a lot of hate. I have no idea why. I played it. I had fun with it. I thought it was a good game. See in the back, U card. So we're coming across one of my Japanese games. So, Shinobi. I actually just picked this up not too long ago. So this is actually the arcade version of Shinobi. It's not the Sega Genesis Revenge of Shinobi. To me, this is a very good port. The game controls extremely well. The graphics in comparison to the arcade are very good. And even up to the Master System, I know got a version of this game too as well. And the game controls very well, looks very good. I still haven't beaten it yet. I still struggle with the 4th level, but again, the graphics are great, the music is good for me. Again, that for me, this puts it in the A tier. Again, to me, it's a very good 2D action game. With a big thing with me is, with action games, a big selling point for me is control. If they control well, that's all that needs to be said with it. I mean, obviously, I do like good presentation too, but that game, it controls well, plays well, and it sounds great. Oh, we're coming across a Japanese stack here. We have another Japanese game. So over here, there you go, Street Fighter 2. Now, both PC Engine and Turbografx have almost no fighters at all. And I only learned about this game a couple of years ago. I had no idea the Turbo even had a Street Fighter 2. Well, the Turbo doesn't, but the PC Engine does. And it is a great port. It controls extremely well. The only thing I'll say is the music is kind of a little lackluster because it has that the PSG sound of the Turbo. I feel like if this was like a CD game, they could have had the arcade audio and it would have been excellent. But again, this is still a great version of the game. And again, there's no other fighters like it on the system, so obviously this goes right in the S tier. Again, there's almost no fighters for the system. There's a couple, mostly for the PC Engine, but that's Street Fighter 2, and it is a really good port of Street Fighter 2. And if you notice also, too, it looks a little different from the other Hue cards. This is actually one of the biggest Hue cards to get released. It's 20 megabits, which is why it looks different. It's got a longer black strip, and it's a little elevated from the top for a bigger EEPROM. But yeah, Street Fighter 2 for the PC Engine, if you guys didn't know about it. Alright, last game, Time Cruise. Now, the Turbo itself has 3 pinball games, and I'm not really into pinball games that much. I played the other 2 pinball games, but to me, I don't know, the Turbo's got some solid pinball games. You got Devil's Crush, Alien Crush, and Time Cruise. I feel Time Cruise is probably the weaker of the 3, but by no means is bad. It's got a great playing field. It's got multiple layers to the playing field, and it's a lot of fun to play. There's a lot of variation in it that just keeps you playing over and over again. And I don't know, I never played a system that had so many good pinball games. Like I played pinball games on SNES and Genesis and the regular NES. So I don't know, Turbo just, if you like pinball games, man, come to Turbo. It's like it's hidden, it's secret besides shooters. It's got great pinball games. But again, it is a pinball game, so replay value is not too high. I'm not gonna like slot it into the S tier with its even its brethren. At most, I'd probably put it in the A tier. But Time Cruise, I'll put right in the B tier with the others. Again, yeah, so we had a pretty solid lineup of games. I mean, really, just Motor Rotor was the standout of this one. That was probably like the worst one. And again, Turrigan could be a C tier game, but I don't think it deserves it because again, the system didn't have a lot of action games, so I feel like it deserves a little better than that spot. And so that's it, guys. This is my next. This is part 2 of my physical tier series, and I had a lot of fun making this. Like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good night. All right.